Hey, welcome back, YouTubers. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Stella.
And this is the Drawing Duo. And it is almost
Christmas
time. Yeah, because it's Christmas time, it's literally like my favorite time of the year. I love this time of year. And I'm lucky enough to live in an area, we're lucky enough to live in an area that is all snowy. So we get white Christmases. And man, this is such a great time of the year. So we're going to celebrate this time of year by drawing Elf. See? I love the movie, hilarious movie.
He's much more cartoony.
He's going to be much more cartoony. I do love the movie, and we watch it every year. So we're going to do kind of a cartoon version of Elf. Should we get started?
Yes.
Let's get started.
Yay!
So this one we're going to use our techniques from the last number of videos to see if we can build our own character from Buddy the Elf. Buddy the Elf from the movie Elf. So we're going to take a look at him and then we're going to figure out how to turn him into a character. So the first thing we're going to do...
I already have an idea.
Do you?
Yeah.
We're going to roughly create a square for his upper body. Rectangle, not square. Upper body. Okay. And then we're going to roughly make a rectangle about the same size for his lower body. Okay. And then above that one, we're going to put a head. So we're going to create kind of an oval. It's not a circle. Heads are not circles. Can create an oval. And you can make it big because we're doing, if you want, we're doing a illustration character. So if you want to exaggerate, this part of illustration is you exaggerate something. So I'm going to make his head kind of big.
Big head.
And then from about the middle point where his waist is, we're going to just draw a reference line because he kind of puts his hands on his waist and he says, "Smiling's my favorite." Okay, so we're going to create these triangles to represent where his arms are going to go.
Can I make him into like a cartoon kind of?
Sure. And then we're going to kind of create these triangles off his body because he's got his pointed elf shoes.
Yeah.
So we're going to create these triangles off his body. Okay. Then we get to work. So let's take a look at the head first. The head's always tough. So here's a good rule of thumb. When it comes to building heads and characters, and this can change depending on how much you want to exaggerate the character. An exaggeration means he could have super huge eyes or super huge nose.
I'm going to have him have the huge eyes.
But generally, when you look at the human body, the eyes fall about halfway across the head. And then generally, the ears fall about, they kind of start at that marker where the eyes are, and they kind of come down to the base of the nose. So if you were to put a nose here,
it already kind of looks like a person.
That sure does, yep. And I'm going to put I'm going to give him big ears because he's an elf.
Ears.
For fun. Okay. And then the thing that Buddy has is he has a cone hat. His hat is a cone, right?
A cone? Oh yeah, it is.
So I'm going to just draw it as a triangle for now and leave it at that and come back to it. Okay. Then we're going to take a look. Oh, looking really good. We're going to take a look at his body. So his body is really cubic. It's or rectangular per se. So I'm going to just keep this rectangle. I'm not going to go as high because we've got drawn his arms. So we're just going to keep his rectangle here. And about, just a little above the midpoint, I'm going to put in his belt. He's got a big black belt, like a karate person. And then about, you could say, so here's his legs start, so this is interesting. His legs don't start down below his clothes, they start up in his clothes. So if you were to kind of look at the human figure, you have the chest, okay, you have the abs, you have the waist, and then you have the legs, okay. So we're going to start the legs in here, and I'm going to keep the legs simple. And this is not quite centered, so I'm going to just move this over a little bit. And you could kind of accentuate the knees. So his knees kind of sit there and create his knees. And we're going to pull that down to where his shoes will be. And we're just going to keep his legs together. And remember, when you create, the legs are round, so the shoes are not going to be straight across. They're going to have a curve to them. So we're going to put the tops of his shoes. I think my buddy's looking a little too chunky. He's kind of a skinny elf. So I'm going to just skinny him up a little bit. Okay, and then we got the shoes here. The shoes go outward. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create these curls at the end because he's got these nice elf shoes on with curls.
Hey, that's funny. I was doing the curls of his hair while you were doing the curls of his shoes.
Nice. So we're going to do the curls of his shoes. He's got these kind of horns like that one beetle. What is that beetle? I'm having a hard time remembering the beetle right now. Goliath beetles. So he's got horns.
I don't know what those are, but yeah.
Okay. And then we're going to go back to his head. So let's take a look at his head. So we're going to kind of give him eyes here. So let's work with the brow line, and I'm going to do eyes that have reference to the brow line here. And then I'm going to create kind of some whites of his eyes underneath. And I can put inside there. I'm going to put inside there some rough irises. Okay. And then one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to exaggerate his smile. I'm going to put these kind of streaks back here represent his cheeks. And I could do this too. I could get rid of the bottom parts of the eyes here. So maybe I'm going to change the eyes. And I'm going to put these cheeks, because when you smile, your cheeks kind of go up into your eyes. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to create these cheeks. And I'm going to create these kind of creases. And I'm going to make a huge smile. And I'm going to exaggerate it way down here, down into his chin. Because Buddy the Elf will say smiling's my favorite.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring his chin line down here.
It's not exactly exaggerating so much.
Yeah, you don't think so? Because smiling's his favorite?
Yeah.
So I got him smiling a ton. He's super smiling. I could just kind of rough in teeth here. So when you're illustrating with mouths, we'll take a look at mouths more, but like you don't want to show all the details. This is part of illustrations. You're not looking to put in all the details. The thing about illustrations, you're figuring out what details can I put in that will tell the story, that will show the character, but not overcomplicate things. And so that's kind of part of the balance. And it's a very difficult balance. Sometimes you'll redraw a character a bunch of times because it's hard to find that balance. So I'm going to put in his curly hair up here. I'm just going to keep it simple curly hair. And it comes out of the hat there. And my Buddy the Elf is looking a little maniacal. He's looking a little scary. He's like super
clown.
like dangerous.
He looks like some sort of scary clown.
So I've got to figure out how to change. Maybe it's his eyes. Maybe his eyes are too intense. So I might just totally get rid of his eyes here and kind of clean up his nose a little bit. And then maybe I just make his eyes more cartoons so he's more fun. Because right now his eyes are too realistic and he's kind of freaking people out. He's like, I'm freaking people out! So maybe, just maybe. Yeah, look at that. That's much more happy. Less maniacal. Less crazy.
Maniacal.
And then we can put these eyebrows up here. See, and he started to look like a character, and his chin's a little wide because Buddy has kind of more of a pointy chin, so I'm going to change his chin up a little bit. And this is kind of part of creating a character is you're trying to figure out the shape of the face, And if you look at people on this kind of around you and your friends and your family, they all have very different faces. You know, everybody kind of looks very unique. And so it's kind of like each one of us is a fingerprint of God. Like we're all made very uniquely. And so we never want to assume someone looks like this or that. Like you kind of want to create your own kind of approach, or you work with different faces, different chins. See, I changed his chin there. And now his chin's a little more pointy, and now he's looking a little more like an elf. He's a little more fun and playful. And we put his neck out here. Okay. Man, it's starting to look like Buddy the Elf. So I'm gonna emphasize his mouth here. I might even bring it down a little bit more into his chin, because he just loves to smile. Man, he loves to smile.
Your shirt says that.
Yeah, it does.
Smile.
Then I'm going to take a look at his collar. So his collar kind of goes around here, and it's a big fuzzy collar. We're not going to put the fuzz texture in now, because that's a very complicated part of illustration, and we'll get to that fur and hair and all that stuff down the road. But we're going to take a look at, we're going to put a collar in there because he has a collar as part of his wardrobe. Okay. And then out of the collar becomes his shoulders. And he's got that diamond look. Like, I've got my hands on my hips, I'm ready to go. And we're going to give him some size to his arms. And he's going to have kind of his grab. So this is one of the things, is a lot of times it's good to look at your own hands and see. And a lot of times, like if I'm working, I'm going to put my hands on my hips, and I'm going to take a look at the way my fingers work. So, you know, like my fingers go out in the front here. I'm going to rough them in because fingers are hard, and we'll work more on that down the road. We're just gonna rough in his fingers for now. But it's good to always kind of take a look at yourself as reference, because then you can kind of see, what does it look like for me if I build a character like this? What does it look like? And it's a good way to reference. And he's got a lot of like folds in his fabric that we can put in, but we're not going to worry about that too much because that gets complicated. Right now we're just trying to kind of get a rough idea of what he looks like. He has a big gold belt buckle, so we're going to put that above his waist here. And it's literally a kind of a square instead of square.
Yours and mine look so much different.
And that's the thing that's great about drawing, is that everybody who draws, they get to make their own character. They get to put their own flair in it. That's what's awesome about being an artist, is you don't have to look like everybody else. You get to be your own person. So I'm going to just rough in like the legs and stuff. And then look at him, he's got this you know, his outfit comes apart. So we're going to just put a line down there. And then we're going to put a line here that comes out here and creates these folds. So it creates these kind of wings, and we can erase what's inside here because it's overlapping now. And we'll just kind of enhance that portion of it. And then back here he has this kind of, you can kind of see the circle from behind, or the flap it from behind. It's
look.
Yep, just like that. So back here you can fill this in with a little darkness to show that a little depth, that it's shadowed back there. And then you get to the point where you start like figuring out what you want to add for detail. So like, do you want to put the squiggly marks? You know, he's got these squiggly marks that go on either side of the...
I like this one, my first one, better.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. And then as Stella has there, he's got a feather that comes out of his cap, so you can do the feather. And I can go back in here and I can erase the bit of the eyes a little bit and just try and like put the cheek back in.
Can I color it?
You sure can.
Yay.
And there we have kind of a cartoon version of Buddy the Elf. He's very rough. A lot of love needs to be given to him. As Stella said, he needs some coloring. But that's how you kind of turn Buddy the Elf into your own cartoon character. And the eyes can be whatever you want them to be. The mouth can be simpler. They could be a smile. Like I could get rid of this super big smile and I could just put a smirk in there with a smaller thing. And that's just about kind of cleaning the character up and adding your own flares and adding your own little details. And then we have Buddy the Elf. And that's Buddy.
This is my version of Buddy.
That is a good version of Buddy. Well, that was fun.
Definitely.
I like that one. I love the Christmas season. It's one of my favorites. And it was so fun to draw Elf as a character in a cartoon form. One of my favorite movies. We have to watch it every year. The next video we're going to look at is going to be Star from...
Star versus the Forces of Evil.
is one of Stella's favorite cartoons ever. She could watch it all day long, and some days I'm pretty sure she has.
Yes.
So we're going to draw her next as a character, and then we'll get back to kind of building our own characters. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm glad you joined us, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.